It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Siobhan France. She's in the building. She'll be talking about how you can organize your ideas and your thoughts in order to create a signature framework that has a message that sells. We'll find out about that. What's going on, Siobhan? How you doing?
I am so good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, we know that you have a lot of choices that you can make and you choose to be with us today. So thank you very much. This will be a good use of your time. Before we get started, and people can read your bio, we'll get to that. They'll see how famous you are. We'll get to that. But take a moment and talk about why, and this might be just a question for Shay Brown, but why are people struggling to organize their thoughts and their solutions? Why are they struggling with just that? Before we get to a signature, why are they struggling?
Well, you know as well as I do just how much we are bombarded with information. And what we end up doing is organizing the world's thoughts, but we've never taken the time to organize our thoughts. And so when it comes time to put our messaging out there and we want to create resonance with our audience, it's like, well, is this my thought, the world thought? Things seem jumbled up. And so you realize you're putting out a message that's not gaining any traction because there's a mesh between what you're thinking and what the world wants you to think or how the world wants you to produce. And so when those mesh together and it's not truly you, that really dulls the energy of your message in the marketplace. And when you dull the energy of the words you're putting out, then you repel the buyers that you're meant to call in.
Now for the person that's listening right now, they're thinking, okay, Shay, that makes sense. But what about the other person on the other side that's saying signature framework? That can mean different things to different people. What is your definition of signature framework, and why is it more important now than ever before?
It's the last part that really matters. It's more important now than ever before. Signature framework is a way that you literally take your brain and you create an organization for how you're now going to present your ideas and solutions. So the framework that we are creating is built around your process. So however you help someone get a result or a solution in their life, you have a perspective, you have a process, some kind of a method that helps them get there. And what I found is that when we have so many ideas, we have so many bits and pieces of our craft, we really lack structure for someone else to get the result. And so when you are able to organize what's in here and make it a tangible process for the audience that you serve, now they see you as the authority because you have a pathway, a road that's going to help them get to their destination. And the reason why I think this is so important now, which I think you really hit the nail on the head, now more than ever, is because AI exists. And I think it's great. We should learn how to use it. However, whatever pathway or perspective you have that helps your audience get a result is from your brain only. It is something you've been through, an experience that you had. AI doesn't know that. And so when you have AI frameworks that are being put into the marketplace, there's this subtle disconnect or subtle dissonance between you and the audience because they're going to hear and feel the energy of your words before they even comprehend the words. And so when it's a signature framework, what that's doing is it's creating a process, a pathway for your audience to go, this is how I'm going to get results, and this is how I'm going to get results with you. And once you're able to showcase that road, now they have no other choice but to buy.
I like that, by the way, and that's spot on. And for the person who's listening, saying, "Shit, I like what I'm hearing." Man, in fact, I'm connecting with her. I don't know who she is. I didn't read her bio. I don't know her. Ladies and gentlemen, she's famous all over the world. So if you're meeting her for the first time, I'm going to ask her in a minute, talk about her backstory and what led to what she's doing. But I know some of you experienced folks that are entrepreneurs, you're thinking, Shay, messaging that sells, I don't want to sound like a sleazy salesperson. Have her talk about how you have a message that sells that sounds like me and it doesn't sound like some used car salesperson. Can you talk to that entrepreneur
Mhm.
that's leaning forward now and saying, yeah, Shay, I was curious how she's going to handle this one.
So the fact that we feel like a salesy person is because you don't have a signature framework. You don't have something to rely on. So having a signature framework gets rid of all of that weird, icky feeling that people have about sales. And the reason why we need that framework also is because the framework is for the audience. It's an organization of your thoughts, but it's for the audience to recognize what pathway they're going to take with you in order to get their results. When we sound like a salesperson or we're feeling weird and icky to sell, it's because we're thinking about ourselves. We're trying to get the money in our pocket rather than helping the audience get their result. And people can feel that, but it's through having a framework, a actual organization of how you're going to serve this person that they can feel it's about them, because you've taken the time to basically pave the road. You've taken the time to say, this is exactly how I'm going to service you. It's not, okay, I hope you buy because I need your money that's in your pocket to come into mine. That's not what this is about. So whenever we have this energy of like how we feel about the sale, it's because we've got some mask on ourselves trying to make it about us and what we get rather than what they gain.
Ah, you're speaking their language, man. I can hear it right now. There's someone's nodding right now, like, yeah, Shay, I like that. But who is she? What's her backstory? What was that defining moment? She said, I'm going to help folks do what they're doing now. I want to know who she is. If you're listening right now in the kitchen and you're cooking, thank you so much. Maybe you're listening to the podcast and you're in your ears and you haven't had time to go Google her and all that right now. Don't worry. We're going to ask that question now. You know the question already. Siobhan, who are you? And what's the backstory that led you to doing what you're doing now?
I'm going to give you the short version. I'm a physical therapist by trade. I graduated with my doctorate degree in 2012. And my mom had a stroke when she was 29 years old. I was 5 years old. And I grew up saying, I'm going to be a physical therapist because my mom had amazing results from going to physical therapy. So I played the world script. I went to school, got the higher education, got the job. And I kid you not, 1 year after working as a full time physical therapist, I feel like I just shot up out of my bed one day and was like, this cannot be my life. How I had envisioned my life to be, God really gave me some feeling in my heart. Like, you're going to feel a certain kind of way when you're doing work in this world. And after a year, I was like, I'm not feeling that. And so in 2014, I went to this internet marketing for newbies event. And I was like, whoa, we can make money online. And so the first business I had was actually monetizing my physical therapy degree. And I started creating rehab and exercise programs for people, older adults. And then that kind of morphed. I launched a product on Amazon. I launched some other products as well. I've written a book. And as that morphed, I was like, I'm feeling like there's more out there. And so I'm really into health and taking care of my body. I joined a network marketing company and I'm still with them. And I was with them for a while. But as I was growing my team, I fell in love with coaching. And one of the things that my mentor used to say to me was, Siobhan, you are not duplicatable. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start coaching around what I'm doing because I'm seeing results. And I started coaching and coaching and coaching. And I was like, there's something to this. So as I was getting coached, I was learning how to coach. And then I started coaching and my team started seeing results. And so in 2021, I started burnout coaching, healthcare burnout coaching, helping healthcare professionals. We all know what happened back in 2020. A lot of people feeling burnt out. I got really good at helping people make a decision. Do you want to find a new avenue to treat in healthcare? Do you want to start a business? If you do, I have a vehicle. And I was helping people get clear on all of the minutia that was in their head. And I was like, I'm really good at helping other people get clear on their thoughts because I have been through a certain road. And so now in 2025, it's morphed into different levels of coaching. So it's morphed into life coaching, and then it morphed into business coaching as my business grew when I launched this particular business in 2021. So business coaching for me since like 2023, like the end of 2023, I morphed into the business side. And so what ended up happening was people were coming to me so unclear, wanting to put their ideas online, wanting to do certain things. And I would just kind of like organize things. And then I realized this is a framework. I am helping them to think better, think more clearly, get rid of all the worldly views that they had that they were carrying on. I was helping people shift their identity. And once I started doing that, I was like, I have a knack for this. So here we are.
Wow, incredible story. Thanks for sharing and thanks for the journey that you're on, by the way. I appreciate that. Without giving away all the goodies, I know the question has to be, Shay, does she have 2 or 3 ideas that she can share that we could use to help put together our signature framework? I like the idea. I like the concept, but what would she say to me, the entrepreneur that's been in business for at least 2 or 3 years? I think I know the product or service, but I'm trying to say, well, how would I put together my signature framework? Is there a step 1, a step 2, a step 3? What would you say to that entrepreneur that's watching now?
So there is. So I always start people with understanding what your gifts are, what your skills are, your knowledge, your life experience. Once you get very clear on what that is, there's an intersection, and that intersection is the problems that you can solve for people. And once you understand what that is, then you go, if my person, my ideal person that I'm working with is here, and I can help them get to here, what are the 3 to maybe 5 steps that I'm going to take my person through in order to get their end result? Now, those 3 to 5 steps are the big umbrella marks. So what I mean by big umbrella, it's the big idea. Because underneath that big idea is smaller concepts. Maybe it's a tool, maybe it's some kind of modality that you are using. It's certain ideas or concepts, it's a method, it's something you've taken yourself through. And so underneath those big steps are these small steps. So I always describe this as if you were back in school and the teacher gives you a syllabus. There's an entire outline. It's like, here's the heading, and then underneath those headings there are subheadings, and then there's these other concepts that are going to help to support that. So you start first with organizing your skills, your gifts, your experience, your knowledge. Okay, putting that in a bucket, finding the problem in the world that you solve based on what you know. That's the intersection. And then whatever that big problem is, those 3 to 5 steps that you took yourself through or you've taken other people through to get to that result. And then under those 3 to 5 steps is where you start really crafting some of the finer nuances, because there's a lot of nuances in every single industry. And so you put those little nuances under each umbrella, under each bucket. And from there, when it comes to content creation, now you're going to be able to pull out one idea, one of those nuances, one of those steps, and you're going to be able to talk about that. And you can say how this is connected to their end goal.
And it connects right in there. I love it. That's a great framework. And not only will it help the person that's listening today, but this is evergreen. Talk about the importance of being able to use this, because this is evergreen. It's not like she gave you some, all right, use this prompt today in AI and it's going to work and give you
Yeah,
everything you need. You're sharing something that they can adapt no matter what industry they're in. Is that correct?
it is. Can I drop a bonus?
Yes.
Can I drop a bonus? Okay. So after you've got that, okay, I'm going to give you my RISE method. It's RISE. And this goes back to creating timeless content. And I always like to say, you're not creating content for a moment, you're creating content for a movement. And once you understand that, then you're never dependent on one piece of content to bring in all the sales. You start to understand that you're building a body of work, and each piece of content that you put out there works like an ecosystem. They're all interacting with each other. So that way you can sell without selling. So whatever you are industry you are in, when you get that initial framework that I just gave you, I want you to use the RISE method. RISE. R stands for relatable experience. So, what is an experience, a desire, a belief system, something that your audience currently wants, something that's relatable to their present moment? And then you have the I. I stands for identity shift. Who do they now need to become in order to achieve that desire, to adopt that new belief? And then you want the S. That's a simple solution. What is a concept, an idea, a solution that you have that helps them to achieve that and then establish that identity? And then the E is for emotional pull, because people aren't going to remember what you say, but they are going to remember how you make them feel. And so you want to make sure that you understand what is the emotion that's underneath the tangible result that your people are looking for. So you can create an emotion at inside of your content that allows people to say, not only do I want that tangible result, but I'm excited to feel like this. And this is how we sell without selling, because they already have a desire to buy. And all you're doing is activating their innate desire to already want to buy. They're just now choosing to buy from you because of how you framed it. I always say, when you want to focus on something, you put it in a frame. When I go on vacation and I take a picture and I want to remember, I put it in a frame. So this is why we need to have a framework, because it helps your audience focus on what you need them to focus on, because that's the thing that's going to help them get the result. So I just gave you the part on how you particularly establish your own framework, or begin to, and then you use the RISE method in your content to say, do I have these four components within my content? Because now you know you're getting closer to attracting your audience.
I love it, man. That is spot on. Ladies and gentlemen, that was golden. That was the bonus of bonuses. And it's probably a great segue, but all this wonderful stuff you're doing, to a segment we have here called Today is My January 1st. Now, for those folks who tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you already know what we're about to do. In fact, you can say those magical words. Today is my January 1st. Happy New Year to you, by the way. Isn't that exciting? And for all the other folks who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. We're glad that you're bored. You have a lot of choices. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. But today is our January 1st is our personal mantra at the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a fresh start. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter how dark and gloomy that past is, or how bright and sunny that past is, the past really no longer equals our future. And so my question for the one and only Siobhan on the other side is really two parts. Number one, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And number two, was there ever a setback in your life? Was there ever a challenge? And if so, how did you bounce back from it?
I got a real unconventional answer. When I hear January 1st, I don't think nothing. And let me just be clear, the reason why I don't think anything is because I've had to pull away from using these harsh timelines in that way. And so one of the things I always teach is we have to reframe our language. And for me, January 1st just felt like some big revelatory day, at least it used to, until I realized it's really just a continuation of what I've done. And so, because I spend most of my time just setting the objective, what is the objective that I am going to attain or desire to attain? I take a look and say, have I been doing the right action steps? Have I been putting in the right input? If I'm going to make a cake, do I have pizza dough or do I have flour? It's like, do I have the right inputs that I need? So when I hear January 1st, I think continuation as opposed to like some kind of fresh start. And I really see this on a continuum, because we are always getting better. We're always becoming, and there's no become, like it never ends. As entrepreneurs, yesterday is not as good as today, and so on and so forth. We're always getting better. And so, because of that, January 1st is just a continuation for me. And when it comes to setback, listen, the language for me matters so much, because words really create things. Words create our thoughts, our feelings, our entire perspective. And so I realized that setbacks are really set ups. And so if I see something as a setback, I think it's holding me back. But nothing is actually holding us back. We have to understand how much we have to allow things to happen, allow our purpose to come to us and develop ourselves in that purpose. And so this is more so understanding that whatever we think has set us back, it's like, what do you need to learn from this situation? What is this teaching me right now? Because that is the step I'm going to now stand on as my new foundation in order to reach for the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And so it's really these series of steps that are what I call setups, these series of setups. And so the quote unquote setback, at least for me, has been shifted into set up. And that setup is I needed to learn this thing in order to get to that next step. And then I needed to learn this thing to get to that next step. And I keep that momentum going. And so the things that I've really used when it comes to these foundations is levels of awareness. What has each situation taught me? What did I need to learn? Because if there is something in my life that I, really desire but don't yet have, then there's a part of me that either A is not doing the right input or the right amount of input, or there's just something yet I haven't yet learned. And so this is where I ask God to reveal to me, what is it? Where is my blind spot? Because we all have them. And so I'm looking to see how can I expand my awareness. And now I get to learn from whatever awareness that was revealed. And now I'm like, I get it. Then there's a light bulb moment. And then I've reached the next step.
Gosh, well said, by the way. I love it. I love the energy. You seem to be having a lot of fun. You seem to enjoy this. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
I think what's really cool that's been really happening for me is I think sometimes I've wondered, why have I been through the things that I've been through? I had a really terrible stutter growing up. I could barely say my own name. I was sitting at high school freshman orientation, and I was sitting in a circle, and I was like sweating bullets because it was two people until I had to say my name. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to say my name. I got to say my name. And the moment that it was time for me to speak, I couldn't even get my name out. It was like shit, 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 shit. Like I was tripping over my own name. And so now I speak. Now I've got a YouTube channel. Now I do things in business, and I'm on video and I'm doing interviews. And I realize that there's no pain that ever goes unused. And so what gets me so excited is when I see people now who have some kind of pain in their life that gets alchemized, and it becomes a part of their purpose. It becomes something that they now live out. And I think it's really cool because the experience I've been through, it served me, sure, to teach me lessons, but it truly serves someone else. And I think that is so awesome to see how much we are an ecosystem. You're here to serve me. I'm here to serve you. What you're good at, I'm not good at. What I'm good at, you're not good at. And it works that way. And so I get really jazzed up when I recognize that part of my pain was for someone else's purpose. And when they have their own revelation and they start taking off because they have discovered that they've always had it in them, I'm jazzed up because I think so many people are living just kind of confined. They're living so like tight at times. And as entrepreneurs, we got to continue to dream bigger, and we got to reach higher, and we got to believe bigger sooner. And so it's fun for me to see when it's like the lid comes off and like people just start expanding and exploding online because more of them is really showing up. They're no longer underneath the thumb of the world, but they're starting to understand what they're really building for.
I love it, by the way. Thanks for sharing, by the way. I love it. I love the energy. I love the passion. One of the questions I get to ask when I have a few minutes, and we have a few moments now, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I always frame it for the audience so they understand when I ask you to come off the mountain with the 10 commandments. That's not what we're asking to do, ladies and gentlemen. She's had a lot of mentors that she's talked about already. She's read so many books, watched videos. I mean, get out of here. 10,000 hours. I mean, we do that with our thumb on the weekend. It's almost a joke, right? But if you had to step back and say, here's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, what is it and why?
I'm conflicted in my head because I got two things that want to come out.
Well, give us
Okay.
both.
I
Give
don't
us both. Give us both in the time we have. Give us both.
Okay, the first one is believe bigger sooner. And it is so cliche, but yet so true. Believe bigger sooner. And that's one of the reasons why so many people hold themselves back, is because their belief isn't big. I think we really create such an intellectualized concept of who we are. And the reason why we have that is because we know we can achieve. But underneath all of that is this feeling of, I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if I'm deserving. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I can. I don't know if people will pay me what I'm charging. It's like the I don't know. It's all the doubts. But yet that doubt is encapsulated by this kind of vision that we have of ourselves on the outside. It's like, I know I can, though. And it's because the inside of us hasn't expanded yet into the belief of how we see ourselves. And so we really have to believe bigger sooner. And that really is from a deep internal space. So we have to be doing the inner work, not just understanding all the strategies to grow our business and make all the money, because it's really a reflection of our ability to hold a capacity of belief, a capacity of conviction. And so believe bigger sooner. The second one is that we don't lack anything. We don't lack anything. We just lack the awareness of the resources that we have. We don't lack anything. There is nothing right now missing. Even if you're thinking to yourself right now, I don't have all the money in the bank account that I want. I don't have the clients. I don't have the this. You don't lack anything. But there is an awareness there that is blocking you from seeing the resources that is literally already in front of you. And once you can unlock that awareness, you'll go, this was here the whole time. And you'll see that it was there the whole time. Whatever that resource might be, it could be a person you needed to connect with. It could be like something in a book that you've had on your desk but you've never picked up. It could just be some kind of revelation within yourself that was always there that now you're paying attention to. So we don't actually lack anything in order to achieve our goal. It is an awareness of a resource that's already in front of us.
Lack of resource, but we can be resourceful. What do you do for fun? We're not out saving the world. We're not teaching people how to have signature frameworks and teach them how to sell through their messaging. What do you do for fun? What does fun look like for you?
I'm at the beach. I'm from Maryland originally, moved to Tampa in May of 2021. And I'll tell you what, Florida it's beautiful here. I know we got hurricanes and all of that, but it's so pretty. It's so serene. The beach is a happy place for me. We have a lot of trails. So I'm outside a lot. I have yet, believe it or not, fun fact, I have yet to see a gator. Yet to see a gator. I'm like, where are these gators that you guys talk about all the time? I guess I don't live in that part where there's gators, but I haven't yet seen one.
Well, we're not inviting you to see any gators anytime soon, by the way. I love it. As we come down the home stretch, a two-part question. Number one, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? And number two, how can folks connect with you? What should they do? How can they stay in this conversation over and beyond the time that you and I have right now?
Mm-hmm. I work with coaches, experts, thought leaders, someone who knows that they have a ability to help someone get a result. But they are feeling like they have a lot of ideas in their head and it's swimming around directionless. And you are somebody that's already putting content online, things are already happening, but you feel like you're kind of at this plat like this plateau, like things are stuck, right? And it's not because you are stuck, it just means you need some structure. And so those are the kinds of people that I work with. And so to find me, you can go to Instagram. I'm active on there. I'm active on Facebook as well. My website is drsiobhanfrance.com, SIOB as in boy, HAN. And I'm running a content authority blueprint challenge where I actually help you design your own signature framework, what that looks like, how you really take what's in here, create a filing system. So I've got that coming up next.
Well, good. Let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you. I can't wait to have you back again soon.
Thank you so much. Appreciated.
And thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, because without you, well, we don't have a show. So we appreciate it with all the choices you have. You choose to be here with us. And I never get tired of reminding you, every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, by the way, whether you're going to that next level of success and fulfillment, or whether you've been hit with the punch you never saw coming, the one thing I do believe is that today is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason alone, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. My name is Shay Brown. Happy Entrepreneur. We out. Thanks a lot, Siobhan.